Hello, I'm back again, and this time with a fun little breakdown of our talents. I'm gonna, instead of bombarding you guys with information about rotation and spec and everything else, I kind of want to split it up, go through it one by one, make sure that you're clear with every video I make. So for today, we're just going to talk about talents, and then I'm going to work on a video where we perhaps talk about rotation, and then I can start getting into the slightly more nitty-gritty stuff, like how to utilize blood talents best, and what our four-piece means at the moment, and things like that. But for now, let's just focus on our talent tree. Right, so let's get into it. Our level 15 tier is our mobility tier. We have three options here. Feline Swiftness, which increases your movement speed by 15%. We have Displacer Beast, which is a 20-yard blink. Wild Charge, which kind of acts like our version of a Shadow Step, and it's on quite a short cooldown. Generally speaking here, I'll usually switch between Feline Swiftness and Displacer Beast, and it depends on the encounter. This tier in general is going to be the one that you change around the most. Feline Swiftness is really handy on encounters where you just need to move around a lot. So a good example of this would be Blackhand, where you don't so much need to blink through any mechanics or to get behind the target really quickly. You just need to dodge stuff like impales and debris. That's where Feline Swiftness comes in. Just a nice general speed increase. Displacer Beast is probably my favorite talent in this tier, and that's just because it's kind of like our own little oh fuck problem. If we see a massive wave coming towards us on Brackensport, we can blink through it, or firewalls, we can blink through it. It's a really good way to avoid raid mechanics. Wild Charge, again, it has its use on certain encounters, like Butcher, for example, it's quite nice. Generally, bosses that have their own charge, I feel like that's where this comes in. It helps us counter it, we can connect, we can get back on them very quickly. And the next tier is our level 30 tier, which is our healing tier. Here we have Isera's Gift, Renewal, and Cenarian Ward. Isera's Gift is a passive heal that heals you for 4% of your maximum health every 5 seconds. And the cool thing about Isera's Gift is it's also a smart heal. So if you're at maximum health, it will heal a nearby injured ally, which is always good. Renewal is a chunky 30% of your maximum health heal, also handy, and Cenarian Ward kind of acts like a triggered bubble which releases a heart. I'll explain it more in a second. So I think, generally speaking, Isera's Gift is going to be your go-to for pretty much every encounter. It offers the highest throughput and requires no effort whatsoever. It's entirely passive. You just heal as you play your character. However, on encounters where you know you're going to take a lot of spiky damage, but not so frequently, I would maybe roll with Renewal. It's a nice big heal. It's a good 30% heal. That will help your healers a lot. However, on encounters where you're taking frequent spiky damage, I'd probably roll Cenarian Ward. Will also help your healers a lot, because this heal is in itself quite strong, even stronger when you couple it with Heart of the Wild, but I will come to that in a minute. Your level 45 tier. This is kind of like your mini CC tier, not massively useful in PvE. I could go through it, but I think they're pretty self-explanatory. You'll rarely use Fairy Swarm. Mass Entanglement does have its use on certain trashes. Typhoon will be your general go-to, just because it can help kick groups of mobs, which is quite nice. Or if your kick's on cooldown, it's helpful then too. So let's move on to the next tier, level 60. Now, this is a tier that isn't frigid, that is entirely frigid, sorry. You won't have any flexibility here whatsoever. You will be using Incarnation, King of the Jungle. You have three options, though. Soul the Forest, which grants you energy per combo point spent. You have Incarnation, which kind of acts like it makes all your abilities act as if they were in stealth. It's pretty much Shadow Dance for feral druids. And then Force of Nature, which summons little tree ants that do melee swings and also apply a version of Rake on your target. As I touched on earlier, Incarnation really is the only viable option in this tier, unfortunately. It is just too strong to not be used. Especially with the recent buff to Shred, it's just become even stronger. Until Blizzard does a massive buff on Soul of the Forest and Force of Nature, I wouldn't even consider changing. Just get really used to Incarnation, learn how to use it well, and you'll do fine. Your next tier is your CC tier. It's where you have Incapacitating Roar, which is a 3-second disorient to all targets within, I can't how far I remember, 10 yards. Ursol's Vortex, which kind of acts like a little vacuum. It sucks mobs back in on themselves. And Mighty Bash, which is just our 5-second stun. Again, more of a PvP tier. However, I find Mighty Bash quite useful on certain mobs. Ursol's Vortex can be good on fights like Korag, where you need to get the ads to stay in one place. It helps bring them back in. It can make tanks' jobs a little easier. Or if tanks need to kite, this can also come in quite handy. Heart of the Wild, sorry, level 90 tier. This is again our second healing tier. This is where we have Heart of the Wild, which drastically improves the Druid's ability to tank or heal. Usually it will just be heal, but that's fine. Dream of Cenarius, which increases the strength of your rejuvenation and healing touch by 20%, and also applies it to you when you heal someone else, which is quite nice. It mimics a heal, which is very cool. Then you have Nature's Vigil, which is a 1.5 minute cooldown, so nothing particularly long, and it just turns your damage into heals, which is always nice. I personally prefer Nature's Vigil, and that's because I like having the on-command heal of my choice, which will help my raid, and I can just weave it into my rotation. It doesn't require any effort past the moment that I press it. I can just continue my rotation as normal, and I'll be helping my raid at the same time. So that's really handy. A lot of people like Dream of Cenarius, as they rightfully should, because it is a very strong heal, and it is, I don't know, you can just macro it into a nearby tank and done. Or a lot of people use mouse over macros, also very handy. Your level 100 tier are where things get a little bit more interesting. You have Lunar Inspiration, which is allows you to apply Moonfire in cat form, which is okay, I guess. Blood Talons, which buffs your next 2 abilities by 30% whenever you use your Healing Touch, so whenever you use your Predator Swiftness proc on a Healing Touch. And then you have Claws of Shavala, which is a PvP talent. Ignore it, has no PvE use whatsoever. Lunar Inspiration is quite nice on fights like Twin Ogren, where you have 2 long-lived enemies. But other than that, as in like the other 99% of the time, Blood Talons is without a doubt the way to go. It provides the strongest single target DPS as well as 3 target DPS. And the reason I use 3 so specifically is because I'm talking about Iron Maidens. On Iron Maidens, you're going to find that maintaining Thrash, 3 Rakes, I'm going to presume up to about 2 Rips, and Savage Roar, quite challenging itself. To then try and apply 3 and maintain 3 Moonfires is going to be very difficult. Not to mention as well that in Blackrock Foundry, you're going to be getting a lot more Mastery gear, which obviously buffs your bleeds. So, again, Blood Talons is the way to go. To be honest, even on 2 long-lived enemies, Lunar Inspiration does pull very slightly ahead, but if you prefer Blood Talons, just roll with it. Anyway, I think I've pretty much covered everything in our talent tree. If you have any other questions, please leave a comment below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. And if you want to see more of this content, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you guys for watching and I hope you enjoy. Cheers.